We all love seeing a woodpecker in the yard, right? That flash of red, the sound of them drumming away, it's just a real joy. So we put out feeders and suet to bring them closer. But what if our good intentions are actually putting them in danger?
So let's ask the hard question. Is your backyard a true haven, or is it an accidental hazard? Because the very things we think are helping might actually be setting these incredible birds up for failure. This gets to the heart of something called the attraction paradox.
And there it is, the attraction paradox. It's that classic double-edged sword. Our desire to help inadvertently creates brand new dangers. So, how do we fix it? Well, let's start with the most common thing in all our backyards, the bird feeder.
Right, let's rethink the feeder, because this is where things often go wrong right from the get-go. Most feeders you buy in a store, they're made for songbirds. And asking a woodpecker to use one of those is kind of like asking a fish to climb a tree. It just completely goes against their basic anatomy.
Think about it. Finches and sparrows, they're perching birds. They can just sit happily on a tiny little dowel. But woodpeckers, they're a whole different animal. They are vertical clingers, built for life on the side of a tree trunk. And that one difference changes everything. To really get why, you gotta look at their specialized toolkit. First, they have these incredible zygodactyl feet. 2 toes forward, 2 back, for a vice-like grip on bark. But the real secret weapon? It's their tail. Those super stiff tail feathers act like a kickstand, creating this perfectly stable 3-point tripod so they can drum and eat without getting tired. And this unique setup is exactly why most standard feeders just don't work. Okay, look at this. On the left, you see the problem. A standard suet cage forces a woodpecker to just hang there awkwardly, craning its neck, using only its feet. That leads to fatigue, and worse, it makes them way more vulnerable to predators. Now look to the right. That is the solution, a tail prop feeder. That simple little platform below lets them use their tail, form that stable tripod, and eat in a relaxed, safe way. It's a game changer. Now, you've got the right feeder, but what you put in it is just as critical. I want you to burn this number into your brain. 70 degrees Fahrenheit, or 21 Celsius. This one little piece of data is the key to preventing a super common and often fatal mistake.
You know that no-melt suet we all buy? We think it's safe for warmer days, but it's really not. Once the temperature gets above that 70-degree mark, it can get soft and sticky. If that gunk gets on their feathers, it completely wrecks the delicate microstructure that keeps them waterproof and insulated. And that can be a death sentence in cold, wet weather. So the takeaway is simple. Only use pure rendered suet, and only when it's cool enough for it to stay solid.
So here is your simple guide, your cheat sheet. From about late September to April, when temperatures are consistently below 70, pure suet is amazing for them. But during the warmer months, you gotta take it down. No worries though, you can swap it out for great alternatives, like shelled peanuts, sunflower hearts, or those nut and insect blends they love. All right, let's move beyond the feeder now. Because creating a backyard that's truly woodpecker-friendly is about so much more than just food. We need to think about safe water, the right kind of wood, and even what's on the ground. And this next one, wow, this is a danger that is absolutely hidden in plain sight. Your typical, smooth, ceramic bird bath, it can actually be a drowning hazard. Remember those specialized feet made for gripping bark? Well, they can't get any kind of grip on a slick, wet surface. And for a pretty heavy bird like a woodpecker, that can be a real disaster. The good news is, the fix for this is so easy. All you have to do is give them something to grip. Toss some rough textured stones in the basin. Place a weathered old branch in there. You could even wrap some rope around the edge of the bath. Problem solved. Okay, how about shelter? Dead trees, what we call snags, are basically 5-star woodpecker real estate. But I get it, they can also be a major hazard for your house or yard. This is where the safe snag strategy comes in. It's such a brilliant compromise. Instead of just cutting a dead tree down completely, have an arborist check it out. If it's a fall risk, they can just top it at about 15 to 20 feet. That gets rid of the danger to your property, but leaves a perfect, vital spot for nesting and finding food.
And hey, here's a little pro tip for one specific species. Northern flickers are pretty unique. They're woodpeckers that actually spend most of their time feeding on the ground looking for ants. If you put down a simple 2 to 4 inch layer of wood chip mulch in a part of your yard, you've basically just opened up a 5-star restaurant just for them. So, picture this. You've done everything right. You've attracted woodpeckers. Your yard is a thriving habitat. But here's the irony. Your very success can create a brand new set of dangers, and these ones are often fatal. We're talking about collisions with your house. You have to try and think like a woodpecker during breeding season. A male is fiercely territorial. So when he looks at your big reflective window, he doesn't see himself. He sees a rival, an intruder, trying to take over his turf. And so he attacks that rival with everything he's got, which often leads to a tragic, fatal collision.
Luckily, and I mean really luckily, there's a scientifically proven solution that's incredibly easy to remember. It's simply called the 2x4 rule. Here's exactly how it works. You just need to put some kind of visual markers on the outside of the glass. You can use special decals, tape, even paint pens. But the spacing is absolutely key. The markers can't be more than 2 inches apart horizontally and no more than 4 inches apart vertically. This breaks up that reflection and makes sure there are no gaps big enough for a bird to mistake for a clear flight path.
Okay, but what about the other big woodpecker problem? The one that doesn't involve windows, but involves that relentless strumming on your siding at 6 in the morning. Yep, that's also a territorial thing. They're just broadcasting their presence. And, some houses just make for really good amplifiers.
The trick here isn't to try and scare them away. That almost never works. Instead, you need to work with their instincts. You redirect them. Give them something that sounds even better. A simple 6 to 8 foot cedar or pine post mounted somewhere in your yard makes a fantastic drum. They'll figure out pretty quick that it makes a much better sound than your drain pipe.
Whew! Okay, we have covered a lot of ground here, right? We've gone from feeders and water all the way to windows and wood. So let's pull all of this together into one simple, ethical action plan that you can use to give your own backyard a checkup.
I want you to think of this as your 4-pillar safety audit. Just walk around your yard and ask yourself these 4 simple questions. 1. Is my feeder a tail prop design, and am I using the right suet for the season? 2. Is my bird bath or water source totally grippable? 3. Are my windows protected with the 2x4 rule? And 4. Am I managing my habitat with safe snags and good ground cover? It's a simple checklist, but man, it can make a world of difference.
You see, once you learn to see the world through a woodpecker's eyes, you can transform your backyard from a place of accidental hazards into a true, thriving haven. And it leaves you with a much bigger question, doesn't it? What other animals are we trying to help whose very unique needs we might be overlooking completely?